Chapter 61. They Need Us. The playing area was not just one room. There were 2 giant ballrooms and 7 or 8 smaller rooms, all filled with rows and rows of people playing bridge. And that, I found out, was just on one floor. Tony and I took an escalator down a level and found the identical setup on the floor below. It was only a little after 4 o'clock, so they were still in the middle of the afternoon session. Pairs, knockouts, and something called boredom match were all taking place in different parts of the hotel. I was surprised by how many younger players were there. Many weren't much older than Tony and I. I even saw several kids who looked about Leslie's age, playing with a parent or grandparent. One of the downstairs ballrooms was designated as the novice area. It was for players with fewer than 200 master points. Just outside that room was a sign announcing various guest lecturers, including Sid Fox. "That's the guy!" I exclaimed. The name meant nothing to Tony. "Remember when we played against those jerks when Annabelle redoubled?" I reminded her. As we were leaving the table, one of the idiots complained that you had suddenly turned into Sid Fox. We decided we'd go to Sid Fox's lecture, which was at 6:15, and then we'd play in the 7 o'clock session, just us, with no help from Trapper Annabelle. We found a hole-in-the-wall sandwich shop 2 blocks from the hotel and grabbed a quick dinner. My sandwich had sausage and peppers on it, and Tony ordered one with fresh mozzarella, tomatoes, and basil. I only mentioned what we ate because we both said our sandwiches were amazing. That's pretty funny if you think about it. We were about to enter a national championship, turning cards for Trap and Annabelle, but our sandwiches were amazing. One of the legs on our table was shorter than the other 3, so the table kept wobbling as we ate. "How long has Annabelle been talking to you?" I asked. "Always," said Tony, "as long as I can remember." I told Tony about the time I'd first met her, at Trap's 65th birthday party, when she ran up to me and shouted, "Shut up! Leave me alone!" She didn't remember and felt embarrassed about it. "I'm really sorry," she said. "I didn't mind," I assured her. "I thought you were funny." She reached across the table and put her hand on mine. "You know I wasn't talking to you, right?" "I know that now," I said. It wasn't surprising that she didn't remember. It had been a big deal to me because it was the only time I'd been to my mysterious Uncle Lester's house, and then I met this girl who acted so strange. She had been to Trap's house many times. To her, it was just another day. "I do remember that there were times I wished she'd go away and never talk to me again," Tony admitted. "I wanted so much to just be normal. Everybody kept telling me there was something wrong with me. I had to go to a psychiatrist, and then I was supposed to take these pills, but Annabelle would say, 'Don't take the pills, Tony.' Most of the time, I was glad she was there," Tony added. "It was like having a fairy godmother. I loved her. I still do." "Do your parents know you talk to Annabelle?" I asked. "No, not really," Tony said. "My mother just thinks I have special insight. But then again, they do send me to a shrink." I asked her if that was why she was homeschooled too, but she said she didn't think so. My parents don't believe in what they call institutionalized education. Something about fitting square pegs into round holes. It's not like they keep me locked up in a padded cell or something. I have friends. "No, I know," I said. "You go together." "You think that's funny, don't you?" "No," I lied. "Yes, you do." "No, really," I said. "So what do you suppose they're doing right now?" "Who?" asked Tony. "Trap and Annabelle," I said. "You think they're going over their bidding systems like everyone else around here?" "They're not doing anything," said Tony. "They need us." Sid Fox was about 65 years old, with wild Albert Einstein hair, and he wore glasses with heavy black frames. Behind those glasses you could catch a mischievous, almost childish gleam in his eye. His lecture was surprisingly entertaining. You were supposedly playing bridge with some king. Fox used a whiteboard where he'd put up different card combinations. He'd show you what cards were in dummy and what cards were in the declarer's hand, and then tell you how many tricks you needed to take. If you succeeded, the king would let you marry the princess, or prince, depending. But if you failed, the royal executioner would chop off your head. You had to choose a line of play that was guaranteed to win 3 heart tricks no matter how the remaining hearts were divided by east and west. Sid Fox called on several people. I was afraid to raise my hand and just whispered my answer to Tony. The first 2 people got it wrong and had their heads chopped off. One of them had given my answer. "Too bad, you're dead," Tony said to me. A woman finally got it right. She said she'd lead dummies ace. Next she'd lead dummies 3, and if East played low, she'd play the 8. "Congratulations," Sid Fox told her. "You may marry the prince." I'll take the princess, if you don't mind, the woman said, and everyone laughed. He gave us 4 different diagrams. I lost my head on I lost my head on each of the first 3, but on the 4th one, I got to marry the princess. Tony smiled at me. Going back to what I said earlier, I don't think she would have dared to smile at me like that if we'd been sharing the same room.